I realized that last year I stopped paying attention to celebrity drama as the 2024 election was coming up. I needed to do my research on policies instead of seeing what my favorite artists were saying on the red carpet. It was then that I remembered what Billie Eilish sang about in her song TV. In this song, Billie Eilish says,
The internet's gone wild, watching movie stars on trial while they're overturning Roe v. Wade.
in these lyrics, Billie Eilish is referencing that while Amber Heard and Johnny Depp were arguing about defamation in the court, the Supreme Court's decision about Dobbs v. Women's Health Organization was leaked. With the Dobbs case, the Supreme Court overturned the Roe v. Wade precedent, which gave women access to abortion nationwide prior to a fetus's viability. So Billie Eilish is suggesting that while Johnny Depp and Amber Heard were in court, that distracted the internet while women's rights were being deemed unconstitutional. And I thought this would be an interesting premise to a video. These days, artists, influencers, and celebrities are expected to be political advocates on major issues and are on the brink of being boycotted by either side for having the wrong take. Yeah. When it comes to celebrities, would you say that they have a duty to be political advocates on whatever side they're on?
Honestly, and I do think this is going to be an unpopular opinion. I don't know if this is very woke of me, but I don't think so. I really don't. I think that because you don't need to know everybody's opinion to feel strong in your own, you know? You don't need to know, what Chapel Rowan thinks about, the state of the world. Yeah. And as much as, it's important, especially for people like her, I get it, people that are some sort of minority that speak for some group of people, I understand, but I don't think it should be, something that we expect of people, because when we look back on 2020, right, all these people were posting black squares to their Instagram accounts because they felt like they had to.
It was not genuine.
It was not genuine. It didn't matter. It's like a joke now because it was just so nothing. So I feel like that's how it's going to end up looking for a lot of the things happening now. 5 years from now, it's going to be okay, was this very serious? No.
Yeah, I also see it as a way for someone's audience to actually politicize their identity. If that Muslim hijab polyamorous amputee
solo poly,
solo poly. If that meme was a real person, and a celebrity, let's say, would their audience say, "Oh, because you're this, you have to speak about all of this"? I feel like even if someone's identity is already politicized by factors outside of them, pressuring them to speak about it can make them feel more politicized and more marginalized than they would prefer.
That is true. Yeah, no, that absolutely is true. I guess what I was saying wasn't that these people have a debt to pay, is more so that I would understand if they did speak out about these things and they were very important to them. But I don't think the hijabi solo poly amputee owes you any sort of politics.
Yeah. I don't think so either.
Especially politics that you don't like. I feel like a lot of people feel like they want these celebrities to speak about their politics and then they don't agree and then they're wait, no, don't. And it's okay, well, you just want them to say what you already think.
Yeah. If you'd like to listen to the rest of my interview with my sister Avery, the link will be in the description. While these people have massive audiences, speaking on political issues tends to differ from what we traditionally expect from them, and the same is happening with political commentators. Last year in 2024, Candace Owens hosted a debate on her YouTube channel about Israel and Palestine. Then the very next video was titled "Chrissy Teigen Needs an Exorcism." And this month, Matt Walsh dedicated a whole segment in his show to criticizing Gavin Newsom.
Today we have, admittedly, an entirely unnecessary daily cancellation because we're going to cancel Gavin Newsom, a man who is, by default, always canceled on this show, and also a man whose flaws are so numerous and obvious that you don't need me to point them out.
That same show, he discusses an AI-generated band that people originally thought were made up of real-life musicians.
One of the more popular bands on Spotify right now, with something like 1 million monthly listeners, which is a lot, is a band called Velvet Sundown. And it's kind of a retro 60s folk band. The only problem with this band, it's like one small problem, is that it doesn't actually exist. It isn't real, it's AI.
Recently, Fox News was complaining about the new Superman movie and criticizing the director, James Gunn, for calling Superman an immigrant.
My question to you is, can Superman be saved, or is this sequel going to go the way of other woke reboots like Snow White and the 7 Inches?
In case the entertainers at Fox News didn't already know this, Superman is a literal alien, which would make him an immigrant to any country on Earth. When coverage on culture and news is mixed together, they're treated as equals in terms of relevance. This February, Lawrence O'Donnell of MSNBC was critiquing Elon Musk for being underdressed during a televised Oval Office meeting. While I would agree with Lawrence O'Donnell that Elon Musk should have worn something more appropriate, there are definitely bigger and more important reasons to attack Elon Musk.
Elon Musk owns suits and ties. We've seen him wearing them. But today he decided to do the billionaire thing. I met my first billionaire 25 years ago in Hollywood. I was wearing a suit and tie, as was every visitor from Washington in the room. The show business billionaire was wearing a T-shirt.
And in cases like Depp v. Heard, the media tends to portray one side, usually a woman, as a pathological liar. Like, if she isn't the perfect victim, then she isn't a victim at all. The other side, typically a man, is then given reputation CPR. This pattern in the media creates a false dichotomy, when in reality, both sides of these disputes tend to not be that great of people. I bring up these examples to make the point that so many topics that are not news are being treated as news. I think this is happening because these commentators, whether they're independent with their own YouTube channels or websites, or they come from the Daily Wire, Fox News, or MSNBC, hold such privilege that allows them to not be affected by serious issues. Therefore, they complain about culture because that's what really bothers them. Plus, the sensational coverage of celebrity drama brings in money for outlets with little journalistic integrity. The privilege that most of these commentators hold allows them to treat things like Trump's big, beautiful bill as trivial topics. People's health care being taken away and U.S. citizens being deported is being equated to action movies and athletes that tied for 5th place. And let's be honest, audiences of these shows have their own privilege. White people that don't have empathy don't seem to care about ICE deportations since they know they won't be stopped on the street for their skin tone. People with employer-provided healthcare don't think that they need to think about Medicare or Medicaid. And since when does our country care more about unborn, unviable fetuses than the children that are already born? It's important for us, consumers of content, to think before we watch. Instead of listening to grown men and women complain about action movies or what the oligarchs are wearing, instead we should ask ourselves what else we can pay attention to. I can guarantee there are more important things to watch. The same way we're able to vote with our dollars in the physical world, we're also able to vote with our views in the online world. Almost everywhere we look, algorithms are there to greet us. Whether we're on YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, or Instagram, algorithms are used to decide the best videos to serve to us. But how do these algorithms work, and can we control them? Do they somehow control us? Online algorithms use factors such as watch time, watch history, topics, and relevance to decide what content to give to us. On YouTube, we decide the videos we watch directly unless we're using their Shorts feature. Meanwhile, on TikTok and Instagram, the videos are served to us without the user really doing any searching. On YouTube, there's always an option to say you're not interested in a video, or to give a video a dislike if you've already started watching it. On TikTok and Instagram though, if you scroll past a video fast enough, it'll just assume you're not interested. But when you yourself mark not interested, you're often asked why. Maybe you found the video too promotional, misleading, inappropriate, or repetitive. These are ways that users are able to tailor their algorithms, or as some people put it, building their For You page brick by brick. Video sharing platforms make more money the more time we spend online, since more watch time equals more opportunities to advertise to us. Because of this, algorithms are incentivized to listen to us to a certain extent. This, however, can become a slippery slope because over time, algorithms may learn to only serve as content it thinks we'll agree with, meaning that we can fall down dangerous political or social pipelines without us really knowing. This is bad because first, we need to touch grass, but also it may lead us to think that fringe political views are actually being held by the majority of our country, even if they aren't. Back to political pipelines, most of the time when we go on TikTok or Instagram, we kind of turn our brains off, which makes us less likely to critically think about what we're watching. I think this is because we tend to go to those platforms when we just want to pass the time and not when we want to actually learn something. The only solution I can think of is to just pay more attention to the content that you're being served. And we can also utilize the algorithm tailoring tools that platforms give us. Here's a few examples. I said not interested on a video making fun of Aritzia clothing. While I love making fun of ugly pieces from overpriced brands, I don't want to see any Aritzia content at all. I recently blocked the New York Times on Instagram because I see some of their reporting as untruthful. Recently, I also gave a dislike on a CNN YouTube video because one of their panelists said that Stephen Colbert hates half the country.
We've learned over the years, and Steve Colbert is the best example, that when you hate half the country, like Steve Colbert did, and these comedians, they literally hate half the country, their comedy's not that funny.
These are just a few ways I've been able to vote with my views. Here's what my sister Avery had to say.
I think nowadays, especially with the amount of ways we have to access information, I think if you don't pay attention to whatever you define as important topics, it's kind of by choice. Mm-hmm. I think that if you are distracted by pop culture, instead of finding important issues, it's on purpose. I don't think there's a way to do it accidentally, really.
After thinking about this topic for a few days, I've come to agree with Avery. I think a lot of people that seek out content surrounding celebrities likely are doing it out of an escape for reality. After a long day of school or work, you likely don't want to hear about how the world is on fire. However, I do think that being uninformed is a thing. Elections and town hall meetings are key ways that our elected representatives are able to hear what we, the voters, care about. But if the population of voters is too unaware of ballot measures and candidates, they may feel unmotivated to vote if they even know when their local election day is. So, while I don't think that pop culture is a distraction for most people, everyone should be careful about how much slop they watch compared to the real news that matters. If you liked this video, please leave a comment, give me some criticism so that I can make a better video in the future. If you agree with me, that's awesome. If you disagree with me, that's also awesome. Just please voice your opinions in a respectful way in the comments. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!